Hello everyone, welcome to school. So today we are going to discuss about this chapter, mineral nutrition. So here there are, in this chapter there are totally 6 topics.
Okay.
So the first one is methods to identify the mineral requirement of plant. Okay, so what are the methods we are going to study? What are the minerals which are required to plant? Okay, and then essential mineral elements, second topic. In that, criteria for essentiality and the role of macro and micronutrients, deficiency symptoms. Okay, so these 3 are subtopics under essential mineral elements. So, and the third one is mechanism of absorption of elements. Okay, and then translocation of solutes. Solutes are the mineral ions which are dissolved and how they are translocated. And soil as reservoir of essential elements. Metabolism of nitrogen. In that, nitrogen cycle and biological nitrogen fixation. Okay. So these are the topics and subtopics we are going to discuss under this chapter. So we will be going with the first topic, which is the methods to study the mineral requirement of plants. So now we are going to see the methods to study the mineral requirements of plants. So how to know the mineral requirements of plant, what are the minerals are required to the plant, and how to know this thing was first found in 1860 by Julius von Sachs. Okay. So what he identified was plant can be grown in a nutrient solution up to maturity period of a plant. Okay, in a complete nutrient solution in the absence of soil. Okay,
like hydroponics.
Yeah, this method is known as hydroponics. Okay, so he found hydroponics. Julius von Sachs in 1860. Okay, so he found that the plants in complete absence of soil, they could grow in nutrient solution. Okay, defined nutrient solution up to maturity. So here this nutrient solution requires purified water and mineral salts. Okay. So with this you cannot just add nutrient solution for all plants. So
yeah, some plants have some nutrients.
Some plants absorb some nutrients, some plants do not absorb some nutrients. They require more nutrients and particular nutrients they will be requiring. So how can we find that one? So this was found like if an element was added or removed or given a varied concentration, they found the exact mineral composition of a plant. So they added, if it is not suitable, they removed, and then again they added another element, some other element. But this take a long period to identify the required minerals of this plant.
But now they have identified.
Yeah.
So that we can, but it grows faster than hydroponics.
The mineral solution suitable for the plant growth was obtained after that. Okay. So they removed the minerals. If this is required, they will be adding and they will be removing, and they will be noting down the symptoms, what are the deficiency symptoms if this mineral element was removed or it was added. What are the deficiency symptoms the plant was showing. So everything were noted. Okay, essential elements were identified, and their deficiency symptoms were also noted by those elements. Okay, these elements which are very essential to the plants are known as essential elements. Okay. So here this method, hydroponics, is used in the commercial production of vegetables. Okay, like tomato, seedless cucumber, and lettuce. Okay. So this nutrient solution has to be adequately aerated. It has to be aerated. Okay. So this is the method of hydroponics. So next we will see the essential mineral elements. Okay, about essential mineral elements. So in the second topic, which is essential mineral elements. Okay. So here we are going to see about mineral elements. Okay. So here there are 60 plus elements of the 105 discovered are in plants. Okay. So there are totally 105 elements discovered. Okay, in the periodic table. So in that 105 elements, 60 or more than 60 elements are found in different plants. Okay. So here some plants accumulate gold in them, some plants accumulate selenium in them and everything. So some plants even growing in near nuclear test regions, okay, where the atoms are tested. So there some plants accumulate radioactive strontium in them, okay, radioactive elements also they accumulate. So there are many techniques, okay, that are able to detect minerals which are present even very smaller in amount, okay, like 10 to the power minus 8 gram per ml, okay. So even if it is present very smaller in this range, in this 10 to the power minus 8 grams range, it is very small concentration. There are many techniques to detect those elements also. So here the question arises, okay, whether this gold and selenium is also accumulated in some plants. So whether these two elements are really necessary for plants to grow. So there are some elements which plants accumulate in them, but there are some elements which are essential and non-essential. It is very essential to grow. The elements which are necessary, very essential to grow, those elements are some elements. And some elements which those elements are not essential for growth. Okay. So how to find the elements which are essential and non-essential?
Elements.
So there are mainly two criteria. Okay, there are some criteria to determine the elements which are essential and non-essential. So we will be discussing them. So we were discussing about the essential and non-essential elements. So how to find the essential, how to find this element is essential, this element is not essential to plants. So here there are three criteria to determine the essentiality of the elements. Okay. The first one is the element should be necessary for supporting normal growth and reproduction. Okay, it should support normal growth and reproduction. So without this element, it cannot complete its life cycle. It cannot grow or it cannot reproduce. So in that case, this element is essential. So it has to be necessarily supporting the plant for its normal growth and reproduction. Okay, without that, the plant cannot complete their life cycle. It should be like that. So that element is very essential. And the second criteria is requirement of the element must be specific and not replaceable by any other element. So that element only can be sufficient for that criteria. Other element cannot replace this element. It should not replace this element. This element should be very important. This element should play a very important role in these plants. So other elements should not be replaceable. Okay, replaceable with the same activities of this element. Okay, so this is the second criteria. It should be specific and not replaceable by any other element. And the third criteria is element must be directly involved in the metabolism of the plant. Okay, it should be directly involved in the metabolism of the plant. Okay, so these are the three criteria which determine, by which we can determine the essentiality of the minerals, which are the elements which are essential and non-essential elements. We can determine these criteria. Okay? So these are very important criteria. First one is it should support normal growth and reproduction. With this element, it is not able to complete its life cycle. It should be like that. And the second one is it should be very specific and not replaceable by any other element. And the third one is the element must be directly involved in the metabolism of the plant, not indirectly by supporting any other element. It should be directly involving in the metabolism of the plant. Okay. So by these three criteria, there were only few elements found to be absolutely essential for the plants. So only few elements were very essential for the plants. Okay. So these elements were again divided into two based on their quantity. How much quantity the plant absorbs these elements. Based on their quantitative requirements of the plants. So based on the quantitative requirements of the plants, these elements are again divided into two. Okay, the first one is macronutrients, micronutrients. So it is divided into macronutrients and micronutrients. Okay. So here the macronutrients are nothing but the elements which are needed more in amount, and micronutrients which are needed by the plant in less in amount. Okay. So we will be discussing what are the elements coming under macronutrients and what are the elements coming under micronutrients, and what is the concentration, what is the perfect concentration. Below the concentration it is macro. Below its concentration is micro, and above its concentration it is macro. So that concentration we are going to see in our next step. Okay. To see what are macronutrients and micronutrients. Okay. So here nutrients are required in large amount. Okay. So in excess of 10 millimole per kg, more than 10 millimole per kg, these macronutrients are present. They need. So the examples are phosphorus. No, the water macronutrients, these all are macronutrients. Okay. So there are totally 9 macronutrients. Those are phosphorus, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, sulfur, potassium, magnesium and calcium. Okay. So here an easy way to remember this is for CSK MEGCA. Okay. So this is a simple way to remember: phosphorus, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, sulfur, potassium, magnesium and calcium. Okay. So in these elements, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, so these are obtained from carbon dioxide and water from these plants. Okay. So these are macronutrients, and we are going to see micronutrients. Micronutrients are needed in less than 10 millimolar per kg. 10 millimole per kg. Okay. So these are iron, manganese, copper, molybdenum, zinc, boron, chlorine and nickel. Okay. So there are totally with essential, the total essential elements are 17 elements. Okay. In that macronutrients are 9 and micronutrients are 8. So other than this, there are some other beneficial elements also present. Okay. So these are sodium, silicon, cobalt and selenium. Okay. Sodium, silicon, cobalt and selenium. So these are beneficial elements.
Nitrogen is required or?
Yeah, nitrogen is required. It is macronutrient. Okay. So now we are going to see the 4 categories on basis of diverse function of essential elements. Okay. We are going to discuss about these essential elements.
Okay.
So these essential elements are 17, which we have seen already, which are macro and micro. Macronutrients are 9 in number and micronutrients are 8 in number.
Okay.
So macro are more than 10 millimolar per kg and micro is less than that one. So these essential elements altogether, these 17 elements are grouped into 4 categories. 4 categories based on diverse functions. Okay. So the first one is essential elements. These essential elements which behave as structural elements of cell. They maintain the structure of the cell are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. Okay. Corn, you can keep it corn, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. Okay. And the second one is essential elements which perform energy related chemical compounds, which are used in energy related chemical compounds. Okay. So these are magnesium in chlorophyll and phosphorus in ATP. ATP is nothing but adenosine triphosphate. Okay. So and the third category is these essential elements which behave as to activate or inhibit enzyme, which behave to activate or inhibit enzyme. It either activates or inhibits the enzymes. Okay. So the examples are magnesium 2+, Mg2+, which acts as an activator for Rubisco and Pepco. Okay. Rubisco is nothing but 2+ biphosphate carboxylase oxygenase, and Pepco is nothing but pyruvate phosphoenol pyruvate carboxylase. Okay. So here this magnesium 2+ it behaves as an activator for these both enzymes. These 2 enzymes which are very important in carbon fixation in plants, carbon dioxide fixation in plants. And the second one is Zn+, zinc+. So it acts as an activator of alcohol dehydrogenase.
Alcohol dehydrogenase.
And then next one is molybdenum. So it acts as an activator of nitrogenase during nitrogen metabolism. Okay, it activates nitrogenase during nitrogen metabolism. So these are very important. So Mg2 plus for Rubisco Pepco, Zn plus for alcohol dehydrogenase, and MO molybdenum for nitrogenase, which activates nitrogenase enzyme during nitrogen metabolism. Okay, and the fourth one is some essential elements can alter osmotic potential in leaf cells or cells in plant of in body of the plant. So here in that way, potassium, okay, it performs a very important role in the opening and closing of stomata. Okay, so this is the four categories which we have discussed. So next we will go to the role of macro and micronutrients. What it does, what are these roles we will be discussing. So now we are going to discuss about the subtopic under the second subtopic under essential mineral elements. Okay. So here we are going to discuss about the role of macro and micronutrients. Okay. So here what we are going to see what are the roles of each element. Okay, in macro and micronutrients. Generally we are going to see what does each element plays. So first we are going to see about nitrogen. Okay. So this nitrogen, it is absorbed as NO3 minus ion. Okay, it is absorbed as nitrate. So it is also absorbed as NO2 minus or NH4 plus. Okay. Okay. So this nitrogen is absorbed by all plants. Okay, and in greater amount. So this nitrogen is absorbed in greater amount by all parts of the plants. Okay. Especially in meristematic tissues and metabolically active cells. Do you know what is meristematic tissues? The cells which continuously divide, and the cells which are metabolically active cells. So they need nitrogen enormously. Okay, they need nitrogen every time they need nitrogen. Okay, and then these nitrogen acts as major components of proteins, vitamins, nucleic acids, and hormones. Okay. So next we are going to see about phosphorus. Okay. So this phosphorus is absorbed as phosphate ions. Okay. As H2PO4 minus hydrogen phosphate or HPO4 2 minus. Okay. So in these two forms, these phosphorus are absorbed in plants. Okay. So these phosphorus act as constituent of cell membrane. So and these are present in certain proteins. All nucleic acids. So all nucleic acids have phosphorus in them because they had phosphate group phosphorus, right, which are linked to the sugar groups. So all nucleic acids have phosphorus in them and nucleotides also. So here these phosphorus are required for all phosphorylation reactions. So the reaction takes place with the help of phosphorus. So those reactions require this phosphorus as a necessary element. Okay. So next we are going to see about zinc. So this zinc is absorbed as Zn2 plus ion, and it activates enzymes like carboxylases and in synthesis of auxin. Auxin is nothing but the plant hormone which we will be studying in the plant growth and development. Okay, and zinc is used in the synthesis of auxin, which is very, very important here. Okay, so now we have seen about the three elements which are nitrogen, phosphorus and zinc. Okay, so next we will see some more elements. Now we are going to discuss about the next two elements. Okay, what are their role?
What are their role?
As nutrients. So we saw about nitrogen, phosphorus and zinc. So now we are going to see about potassium, calcium. Okay. So this potassium is absorbed in the plants as K plus ions. So it is required in meristematic tissues, leaves, roots, root tips and buds in large amount. Okay. So this potassium can maintain anion-cation balance. Anion-cation is nothing but anion is having negative charge and cation are having positive charge on them. So these two are balanced by potassium.
Negative and positive.
Yes. Okay. And it is also involved in protein synthesis. Okay, it synthesizes proteins and opening and closing of cells, which is the stomata. Okay, it maintains the rigidity by opening and closing of the stomata.
It maintains the amount of water.
Yes. Okay, so this is about the potassium. Okay, so main theme in potassium is opening, it regulates opening and closing of stomata, protein synthesis, and cation balance. Okay, so next we are coming to calcium. So calcium is absorbed in plants as Ca2 plus ions. Okay, so here it is required by meristematic and differentiating tissues. Differentiating tissues which differentiates into some other cells. Okay, so this calcium plays a very important role during cell division. It synthesizes the middle lamella, okay, which is made up of calcium pectate. Okay. So it also involves in the formation of mitotic spindle, and it accumulates in older leaves. So it is immobilized. So it will always accumulate in older leaves. It will not be transported to younger leaves. This calcium. So it will be it accumulates in older leaves. Okay. So it is very important for performing normal function of cell membrane. Okay, and it activates certain enzymes. This calcium activates certain enzymes, and it regulates metabolic activity. Okay, so the important thing is it is used in the formation of mitotic spindle, accumulates in older leaves, and it is very important during cell division and synthesis of middle lamella. Okay, so this is about calcium. We will be seeing some more elements and their role. Okay.